Okay, I am back with another video. Here is the information you're going to need to be able to get the free coloring sheet. This is a Nicole Stocker Greyscale page from her book, Beautiful Nature. She sent me this book way back in the day, and I've actually done quite a few pages in it. This is the one we're doing today, and I actually did it as tulips last time and found out since then it was supposed to be lotus blossoms. So do it whichever way you'd like. The book is very easy. I know a lot of people get intimidated by it and they think, oh, I can't do that. Yeah, you can. And that's why she has said we're going to do a free one today, so that you'll still be able to get your order in before Christmas off of Amazon, so that you can see how easy this really is. We're going to use Prismacolors today just because I know a lot of people have them. I am working on conversion chart to tell you what color in Prisma would be in another brand, but right now I'm just not there. It takes a lot of time to do that. I am going to be using 929. We'll have white, but I'm not going to write that down because it wouldn't show up. 1018. 994. No. Yeah, 994. Okay. Then I've pulled a colorless blender. I may or may not use it. And then I've got this yellow. It's number 1012. It's going to help me with some blending to go from the greens to the pinks. 1089. The reason I always keep a list is in case I don't get back to this before I'm finished with it. 1096. Then I've got a color reference 908 to go back to so that I can finish it with the same colors. Now, if you don't know what a lotus blossom looks like, you go to your handy little computer and you pull up in Google Images what it looks like, and you go from there. Let's go ahead and start back here in the back on this front bloom. And we may not get to all the blooms. I am trying to get you in closer because I know the more you can see, the more you generally like it. I just have to hope and pray that my camera phone will cooperate. So we know that's going to be in pinks. We put our colors. I always do them light to dark. I am going to go ahead and start with the lightest light. I'm going to try to keep my hand out of here so that the camera will stay focused on the picture and not on me. So anywhere where I see these lightest colors, I am going to go ahead and bring in my lightest pink. Okay? And there's not a lot of rhyme or reason. I mean, it's just get the color on there and try to go the direction that you see the lines going. Okay? That way, when you get down later to blending, it'll be a whole lot easier. So anywhere where I'm seeing a little bit lighter shade, that's, well, now I'm on the medium shade, but that first one is the lightest, so that's where that starts in. And this is my second shade, my middle shade, so I'm doing it. And I do just one or two light to medium coats. I don't do a whole lot of coats on this. I personally like the white of the paper to show through a little bit. That could just be me, and that's fine. Just the way I'm doing this. And then this is my darkest shade. So I'm going to come in here now, everywhere where it's the darkest, and put this on. being careful not to get into that petal. I don't want to cover up that line that's really light right there. Okay. So there are times you're going to have to go a different direction to kind of scoochy around things. Yeah, scoochie's a word, I used it. So just coming up and around the best I can with the colors. Okay, now that's basically it for the back too. Now, yes, it looks very splotchy, and you can see that from where you're at. I know you can. So I'm going to try to use the colorless blender. Like I said, I don't use this often. We're going to go the direction that the lines were. To me, it kind of takes some of the color off. See, it's on my pencil now. And kind of dulls the actual piece. And I think that's why I like blending with the colored pencils instead. But it does get the job done. So, then I'm going to come over here and do this one. And again, I'm trying to go the direction that the lines are on the paper. The direction that the grain or the veinage is on the actual flower. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. Yeah, I'm not doing so good with this. Let me go back to these. So normally I would come in then with my lightest color, which is this one, and do my blending. See, to me this is just more vibrant, much brighter, because I'm adding more color as I'm blending. I'm not just shoving around what's already on there. And I can do the same thing over here. And then because it's the lightest color, I can go over that white line because that was in the lightest color. So now our back area is already finished. Do you see how easy that was? Okay. And if I want to come in here and add some darks, there's enough tooth in this paper that I can still do that. I can even add a little bit more medium in here because this is down a layer. Okay, there's a point where you can just take some creative license and just add a little bit to it. Not a big deal. The flowers, now I don't know about the animals, but the flowers in this book are just beautiful. Now let's look at the next one. I'm going to do the lightest lights first, which is this line right here. That's where the sun is actually catching that front tip and edge. And there's another one right here. And then I have some light here and here. Now, I don't want to forget that with this being a lotus blossom, there is yellow down in here. And I'm going to see how it works using just one yellow. To get down in there because this paper does already have gray underneath. It kind of gives me the illusion that I've used 2 or 3 different yellows, and that's another way that this is very forgiving. Then I'm going to use some white right next to this, and what that's going to do is help me transition into the pink. And I have not tried this before with this picture, so we're going to learn this together. Okay, so there's the white, and now we're going to go back to what we were doing here. Oh, it wasn't even on camera. Okay, instead of starting over, I did this, okay, and got all that in. Then I came right over the top and did all this white. Okay? So there, that's another reason why I shouldn't zoom in, because like so many people that do videos and have you off the page, I accidentally had you off the page. And I hate when I watch a video and they do that. So my apologies. All right, so now I'm back to the lights doing the pinks. Coming into all these lightest areas. And again, you do not have to be perfect when you're doing these flowers in the Greyscale books. Kudos to Nicole Stocker for that. She really just made the pictures in such a way that it's just very forgiving. Now I'm going into that white a little bit. Okay, and that's all right. That's my transition area. All right, then my darkest is going to be down through here. You see where that's darker? This is darker. Some of this is darker. So let's get those darker bits in. Just a very light touch. And I don't want to go into that white. Okay. The white that we already did the lightest pink on. Because we would take that shine totally away, and we don't want to do that. Okay. Just laying the color on in the darkest areas. And when you're doing this yourself, you can see the darker a whole lot easier than you can see it when I'm doing it. Okay, now I'm going to go to my medium color. And see, even though my colors don't really match, once you start your blending and filling in, everything just kind of flows. And that's how it is with nature anyway. It's not all going to be matchy-matchy. So now everything that's left is in that medium shade. And that's what I'm doing now, being careful to stay out of that front petal. I started in the back and worked my way forward, because if you're not used to doing this, it's always easier to cover up something that's in the back than if you start in the front and mess up. Not that you're going to mess up. You will not mess up. So there's color laid in. Now back to my lightest, or if you're really good at using your colorless blender, this is when you could pick that up. And see, I'm going to come in to that white and yellow. And this is just kind of helping me blend that all in together. And when you see me staying on one area for a while, it's because I'm just trying to get it to blend a little better. Just me being a little picky about what I've got going on. But if you'll go the direction that the petal grows, it will look a whole lot more natural. And you can't see that I'm laying down a lot more pink, but it's just blending well for me. Again, I use the lightest color that I'm using in an area to come back and blend with. And I really do like these better as tulips. But I'm a tulip girl. I've always loved tulips. So that was the first thing I saw, was just, oh, tulips. And now, because that's the lightest, I can go ahead and go up in there and it's all right. going the direction that that petal grew. I believe if you go visit Nicole Stocker's page, just do a search on Nicole Stocker, find her blog. I believe she's got a place for people to post the pictures that they have colored. Yeah, go search and do a lookup on that. And see, now if I want to, I can even come down a little and go ahead and pick up that white line that is a part of that next petal. Okay, and I really do want to leave this somewhat streaky, just because the pictures that I looked at online, they were somewhat streaky. They weren't perfectly blended. They had a lot of lines in them. In fact, they had a lot of white lines in them. So I'm pretty good with the fact that this has the white lineage in it. In fact, I am going to come in with my white, and now very lightly, I'm going to come in and see if I can get some of those lines in here. And again, it's just following whatever picture you see when you look it up online. It's okay that it's streaky, because that's what it is on the photo that I'm looking at. It's very streaked. If you get one that's not, then you work with your blender or your lighter shade, and you work more at working that out. Now I do want to bring a little bit of dark back in, and we know where that dark was. It was up here, and it was around the side here. And then it was up in here. We can see where it still was. It was here, because this is underneath. And then I can come back in with my lighter shade again. That's what I'm saying. It's just layering pencils. And yeah, it does take a while. Layering pencils is supposed to take a while. I've told you several times in the past, you're going to produce a much, much cleaner, nicer looking coloring page if you do 3, 4, or even 5 layers of color instead of just 1 or 2. Yeah, you want to get all that layering in there. That's what's building your depth. You don't want it to look flat. Okay, we're trying to get that depth in there. We want people to know that an adult colored this, that it's not a child's coloring page. I know people that color stuff like this, and oh my gosh, it looks like a photograph. I kid you not. One of my painting students, she has since gone to colored pencil. She won the state fair a year or 2 with colored pencils, and I would have sworn it was a photograph. She is so good. Jessie can just take anything and go at it. Okay, and see, I'm just tinkering around with it. Just play with it however much you want to. Now, the ones that are right down here in front, they've got that dark right there, and that is going to be your reds, or your pinks rather, but you are going to have some yellow in here. Okay, just go ahead and put that in. it's going to go to some green. In fact, this whole thing should almost be colored this color. I'm going to make this come up over that yellow. My darkest is going to be down here. I'm going to go ahead and put this here too. We're just going to do this whole piece dark. So that's where the darks are. That yellow is going to be like the highlight because it's cupped. Okay, so that's the reason for that. And if you put it on first like I did, it's easier to manipulate and cover it up and blend other colors into it. It's almost like having another color in there. Now the lightest color, we're going to come through here. Remember on the lightest? We just saved it for last this time. Not that big of a deal. But this is still that shine that's right on the tip. Okay? And then we're going to come in and use this green to blend everything. Just like before, I was using the light pink or the white to do some blending. And you could easily turn this into tulips just by going ahead and sticking with just your pinks in here instead of doing the greens. And this yellow also helps pull that yellow in some. And that yellow is just where it started out green and then turned yellow and hasn't quite taken on the pink yet. So it's just the different stages of the creation of that particular petal. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with the darkest again. Up here, really get that. See how it really pops that? And then I'm not going to blend that. I'm going to keep that just popped right up there. I like it like that. I could do the same thing over here. Look here. Do the same thing up here. Come down beside that white line on both sides. And now that white line just really pops. Okay, same thing there. You don't have to always blend. And yes, some of this we're doing as extra. It's not on the actual black and white, but I'm just trying to show you that you can play with it and do more. All right, so now we're going to come in and we're going to do just a little bit of yellow here where it's light. Then I'm going to do my little bit of white, just like I did here. I don't want to go from yellow directly to pink. I just don't think it would be very pretty. You would get like an orangey color. And now we're going to come in darkest colors. It's really dark right there. A little dark there. We have some here. This has all got some dark in it, but we've got that line right there that's the reflective light, so don't get into it. And I'm just doing real lightly through here. No big harsh lines. There's some here. Here's some darker lines. A little bit here. And I went into that white. That's okay. We'll be adding more dark in there in a bit. Now I'm going to go to the light. We're going to get all this light put in. There's a line that comes through here. There's one here. Most of this area here is all that light. There's a little bit of medium right there and right in here. So I'm going to leave that open so I can come back and put that in. But most of this edge is all there. Okay, and we only have a few minutes left, and I'm going to have to go upload this and start another one. I try to only do 30 minutes at a time. I don't want you to be overwhelmed in coloring, and I don't want it to take forever to upload the video. So if I limit that to 30 minutes, I find that does well. Okay, see there? Do you see how it's just putting the lines in? Then I'm going to come back with my lightest, and I'm going to blend it all. And I am just doing my circles again now that I always do. And now I know I can go over that edge because that lip is the lightest color. Just get this all blended. These do work fairly quickly once you've gotten the hang of it. You could even go through and do all the lights on one flower, then all the darks, then come in with all the mediums, and it would really be nice. Now I'm going to go ahead and go over this, going over that white and some of that yellow. I have my clear plastic underneath, but there's a textured cloth under it, and every now and then I hit something that's on it. So you're going to see me move that around a little bit. I get right in there next to that green. And I'm not too worried again about it being streaky. Again, not all the lotuses are streaky like that, but the photo that I'm going from is. So you decide how you want yours to be. Mine showing all this veinage does not bother me in the least. I think it just adds some texture to the flower. And again, I am totally good with that. Now see, I'm going to roll my pencil part way so I can start getting a point on the other side of it. Okay. So in about 30 minutes, you can basically do almost one. I'm going to come back in, deepen this up deeper on each side of that white line. That's going to help put some of that veinage back in. Make your darks darker. Keep those lights light. Look how that just popped that whole piece though. And if I go on the other side of that white line, look how it's going to pop that up to the front. So just play with it. Play with the colors. Play with what's going on. And just really see it take form. Yeah, you could even come back in here and do this even darker. Brighten it up some. And that'll push that to the back. That little bitty sliver there. And see, you've not seen me sharpen my pencils at all yet. And I won't before I start the next part either. I find that by rolling them when I'm working on them, I keep that really nice point on there. So I don't have to worry about it. Okay, I think that's enough for this one. So we are going to depart, and I will see you back here in a little bit for part 2. All right, go get your page, get it printed off.